Hello, Border Collie Geeks, and welcome to a new episode of the podcast. Although you might be watching this as a video, as I'm going to utilize it in other contexts, not just on the podcast. I have been silent for a while on the podcast, and I've not done a lot of content. It's the 22nd of April. We are still quite busy into lambing, but I figured today's quiet is actually my day off, but I decided since everything is quiet outside, I've exercised the dogs, I've done everything I needed to do. I went shopping, I cooked, I baked, I did everything. My laundry's been done, everything is done. So I decided, well, why not have a chat for the podcast and for my Facebook members of the Facebook group. And I've been promising this podcast episode for quite a while. And I thought, well, let's talk about it. I haven't planned it. I haven't got, we'll just chat about it. And this podcast episode specifically is going to be on dogs and cats, or dogs and other animals. Now, in some ways, I discussed this a lot already. Because when we talk about dog-to-dog reactivity, when I talked about worrying livestock, when we talk about anything regarding border collies, really, it's about this subject. But because a lot of are asking specifically with cats, I decided to have a chat about specifically with cats. But I'm not going to be specific. I'm going to be quite general on how I deal or I suggest dealing with a problem. So the difference between dogs and cats, if we're talking about cats that are your own cats, and all the other problems, is specific to the context. Because when we are dealing with prey drive outside, squirrel, birds, wildlife in general, or things that move, other dogs, insects, I don't know, anything that our dogs might decide, other animals that our dogs might decide are fun to chase and interact with, are happening only when you walk the dog, sometimes when you let them in the garden. But the majority of the time, a pet dog will spend is inside the house. And if you have a cat that lives in the house as well, this is where the problem is slightly different. The fact that dogs have to coexist in the household with cats can sometimes be a problem and can be also quite stressful. And every time one of you asks me tips and tricks and ideas on how to deal with it, I can never really answer. And the reason is that there's not one thing. If you ask me, how do I deal with recall? Yes, recall is a component of a lot of other things. But of course, I can say, manage it and this and that. With cats and prey drive and the need to control and chase a cat inside the household, there are a lot of elements that we need to address. It's not just one thing. And let me tell you that sometimes, even if you give your dog the best life, like my dogs have, because they work, they have a lot of freedom, they have a lot of the life is very well structured for a border collie. You will still have the ones that will enjoy stalking, chasing, and wanting to control the movement of the cat in the house. And I'm going to talk to you specifically about my own dogs, as always, because they are the one I live with every day. So I have 2-3 dogs, maybe 4 out of the 8, that enjoy the cats moving. Now, on all different levels. Let's start with Moss. So Moss is 14 years old now, and we have one issue with the cats now with Moss, and this is due to his old brain. If the cats are on the floor, if the cats move in their own accord, he's ignoring them completely. They don't exist anymore for him. It changes completely if I pick a cat up. And this is something that has developed in his old age. He didn't have this before. I'm not sure why. It could be with some maybe sight problem. So in all dogs, you can have behaviors that pop up and that you don't know where they're coming from. They never had them before. And you can't say that's training issue. If Moss is definitely an old brain issue, it could be that he can't see very well. If I'm holding the cat up so he's not sure about the cats, he goes in predation mode. So he jumps up to try to grab them. That's the only situation it happens. Now, I can't train a very old dog because he's old. His brain is not working as it should anymore. His senses are not working as it should. I'm not training him. I am managing him. What does it mean? It means that if I have to move the cats, I move Moss first, or I ask my partner to hold him while I pick up a cat and put the cats away. Now, if for a specific reason, which doesn't happen very often, I have to pick up a cat and I can't control Moss, then I have to pick up the cat and put it like literally over my head. So Moss cannot reach the cat. Now, this is an extreme situation. I'm not saying that this is what you should be doing. I do it because I can't do training. I can't ask Moss. He can't hear me anymore. I can't ask him to lie down or sit. I can't control him. Okay? If I could, I would, but I can't. He can't hear me anymore. So this is extreme management where I can't do anything about the dog, but I can manage it. I can still remove the dog from the situation, restrain the dog, or put the cat out of the dog reach. Okay. Now, Moss as a young dog used to chase the cats. Now, before the ones that we have now, which are 5 and 6 years old, Moss grew up with cats in an apartment. And his favorite thing was to come into the house. The cats were there waiting for me to come home. And he will just see the cats and chase them under the bed. That was it. He would then be okay. That was his game. He would just chase the cats down the corridor, under the bed of my mum's bedroom. And that was it. And then I would call him off. And then it was fine for the rest of the time. As a young dog, the behavior was kind of, more predominant. And we did have to go through a lot of training to teach him to give up to the cats and recall. So in Moss's case, the majority of the training I've done with him as a young dog, I don't remember very well. He's 14. I was, it was 14 years ago. But I remember doing your usual recall training so that I could actually call him away from an animal. And the problem wasn't just cats with Moss. He was interested in a lot of other, animals and wildlife. So training wasn't just about the cats. It was everything. And if you might actually ask yourself now, do I have the problem? It's just the cats, or do I have the problem in another situation? You probably find out that squirrels, sheep, something, a small animal that runs on the floor will probably initiate the same behavior. So you will find that your problem is not in the cats. Is just a general problem of not being able to recall away from another animal that is moving or control themselves when there is movement involved. So, with Moss, things improved while his general ability to not chase and recall improved. Now, we moved out of my mum's home when Moss was 3, and then we reintroduced the cat 6 years ago. And apart an initial not being sure about the cats, Moss has never really shown that need to chase, but he liked to control them. So he had this game back in Cheshire where I would send him out to the back door into the garden. The cats were sitting on the island just next to the front door. It was like, part of the kitchen counter. And then he would turn around and stalk the cats to avoid them coming out. If one of the cats would try to run out in the garden, which they were not allowed to do because they're not outside cats, he would actually herd the cat back in the kitchen. That was his favorite game. There wasn't any chasing. There might be a bit of nipping sometimes, but not to cause any damage. Just simply using his mouth to block without biting. The problem that caused is that he was so obsessed about not allowing the cats out that he would not even go for a wee. He would go out, turn around and stalk the cats through the window. So if I need to send the dog out, unless I go out with him and I would call him away from the door and tell him to go for a wee, which I used to have to do, there wasn't something I could do from the inside to actually untrain that habit. So I had to put frosting on the window. So he would go out, turn around, he couldn't see the cats. And in a matter of a week or two, the behavior completely disappeared. Yes, we had frosting on the window, which I could have removed. I didn't, because I didn't care, and eventually moved the house anyway. But that is to say that some behaviors, again, while I trained his recall and I trained his impulsivity, I couldn't train the fact that he wanted to control the cats to avoid them going out, which actually I have reinforced so many times, because when he would go out after them, stop them and herd them back in, I would praise him because he avoided the cat escaping. So it was my own making, and there wasn't a way around it with training. But I could go out and call him away from the window, he would come. So I had to put another management in place. And this is pretty much Moss. Here we don't have the same situation, so he's not worried about the cats escaping at all. He doesn't care. And I think his brain is not anyway working the same, so he doesn't have that need anymore. Now, we then had Jock, never cared about cats. He doesn't really care about... It's funny, Jock. He loves to herd other dogs, and he likes, of course, to work sheep, but he's not been ever... He obsesses about small animals. So when I have chicks... or when there is a little lamb, Chuck will spend his life watching them, but not in a vicious way. And yes, controlling them. He would just go around them and run, and control them. But it doesn't happen with the cats. He doesn't really care about the cats. Never really cared about the cats. He's actually a very good friend with the cats. Then I had Tay. Tay had a puppy. Like any puppy, as soon as the cat moved, he wanted to chase it. And Tay is a very simple dog to train and to live with. So with him, recall training and reinforcing alternative behavior was enough. And Tay's not a dog that has a high prey drive. He works sheep and he will chase a toy, but he's not his first choice. You know, he will do it now, but he's not a dog that will chase an animal. I've seen him chasing a couple of rabbits around the farm, but he's not really intense into wanting to get them or catch them. He probably would just go past them if he reached the same level as the rabbit. So he doesn't have a lot of prey drive. So it was very easy to train him out of bothering the cats. It happened very, very quickly. I went in between of telling him to stop and recalling him away. And in a matter of a few weeks, he stopped. Now, we had to work hard on the tollers. When my partner Beck moved in, Hester wanted to eat the cats. Like literally, she wanted to eat them. If she could have reached them and grabbed them, she would have killed them probably. So it was a completely different problem. It's not the same problem I've had with any of my collies that would never wanted to actually hurt the cats. It was more of a control bar chase that finished the moment they arrive at the cats. It finishes. It doesn't carry on. Hester is different. She will kill if she's pursuing a chase, which, of course, with wildlife, we don't allow it from happening. We had to do the same training with her, with the chickens, because, well, we were worried that we would need the same training with the chickens, which we did put into place, but it wasn't as extreme as she had it with the cats. Probably because it helped. So with Hester, we did a lot of desensitizing her to the presence of the cats with food. She's very food motivated. She's a toddler, so she's a retriever. And I have some videos somewhere in one of my webinars of me working through the window with a look at that game and other behaviors to help Hester, desensitizing her to cats, because she really wanted, it wasn't just, a control thing. Once we've done enough desensitizing her to the presence of cats, then we put a muzzle on her. And we said, okay, now you're used to the presence of the cats. You can concentrate when the cats are around. Now we need to learn to trust you when the cats are around. Now, if your dog is wanting to use their mouth, there's no way around it. You need to muzzle train your dog. So muzzle train the dog so that you can trust the dog in the same space as the cat while you still continue the training. So the training before only happened if there was a barrier in between. Once she showed us that she could contain herself with a barrier in between and she could do the training we were asking her to do, and she could call away from the cats, then we started introducing her to the cats with a muzzle on. And gradually we allowed her more freedom. Now, a few for the first few times that she actually could reach the cats, she would try to bite them, but she couldn't. She had a muzzle on. So she realized she couldn't. And gradually, she decided there's not even a point to do it. So she stopped trying, and she actually started learning to coexist with the cats, to the point that gradually we started taking the muzzle off. And because she's fundamentally a good dog, like she's gentle, she's not an aggressive, feisty dog at all. With her, it worked very well. But you need to know your dog, or if you don't know your dog, you need someone to help you knowing your dog enough that you can then trust that muzzle to come off. And, in a matter of a month or two, she was around the cats, no issue. And now she sleeps with the cats. We can leave her in the same room with the cats, no problem. She loves the cats. She licks them. When she was hormonal, she's paid now, but when she was hormonal, she would use the cats as puppies. She would lick them and clean them like they were puppies. So, and then Auri, similar to Tay, she wanted to chase the cats when she was a puppy. We trained alternative behaviors with her, and very easily that behavior went. Now, the one that is more challenging of them all is Kite. Kite has a very kind of mixed relationship with the cats. He loves them. He's obsessed. If the cats are behind the barrier, he doesn't try to get over the barrier. He just spends his time staring through the barrier. So if that's a baby gate or a door, he knows the cats are on the other side, even if he can't see them. He will just lie down and stare. He will sleep with one eye open to keep an eye on the cats. Now, if the cats come into the room, and they do because they're not scared of him, he will either hurt them, kind of chase them, but that has stopped very well. That has stopped. It was worse as a puppy. He will not climb on tables and things to try to get to them anymore, but that was the case when he was a puppy. And if they are as level and available to them, he just wants to suck them. He doesn't chew them. He uses his mouth of them, but he just gets them wet. It doesn't hurt them or anything. He just kind of chew at their fur. I think he likes the sensation of it. So, of course, I don't let him do it. I ask him to lie down. I called him away. I move the cats in another kind of level of the kitchen. If they are on the floor, I ask them to go on a chair or on the table. And once they are on another level of the room, he now can control himself. Now, Kite is a dog that needs a lot of impulse control training anyway. With sheep, he's not really good at not following his instinct and go and pursue the movement of the sheep, even if I asked him not to. So there's a lot of work going into Kite to teach his brain not to be impulsive, but to actually maintain a position I'm asking him to maintain, or stop the pursuing of that. And for that, I am doing a lot of work away from sheep. At the moment, we're not training on sheep because our training sheep are in a field I can't use. So I am doing a lot of everyday little games with him that are teaching him that pursuing his instinct is not giving him what he wants, but waiting for me to allow him to pursue his instinct, or allowing him an alternative behavior that is as good for him, is paying a lot. And these are my impulse control games, which I can't really explain on a podcast, but I've got news for you in a second. So Kite has a good lie down. If I ask him to lie down, he will. So if he's bothering the cats and I ask him to lie down, he stops, because lying down, allow him not to. Like, he lies down at the bottom of the table. He still stares at the cats, but he's not trying to pursue the cat by jumping on the table or anything. If he's doing something at the cats he shouldn't, I can call him away, move him away from the situation, allow the cats to move. If Kite was my only dog, or one of my two dogs, and he was living in the house, I would have trained a solid go to your bed behavior when the cat was around. Kite is a kennel dog at the end of the day. You probably know already. It means that at the moment I'm here. Well, at the moment, 4 of the dogs are in kennels, but Kite, if Kite needs to be removed, he doesn't go in his crate. He goes in his kennel, which means that he goes out of the house, which means that he goes away from the cats, which makes life easier. But if I had him as Moss, as a pet dog, I would have trained a very solid go to your bed and stay there. So some impulse control on the bed. Now, again, it's not just the cats training. I don't actually do training around cats at all. Because when I'm in the house and Kat is in the house, it's normally a relaxed time. It's normally I'm cooking, I'm eating, or I'm doing something else. All the training happens in the rest of the time when I'm out and about, when I'm doing training session, when I'm training him on sheep, or in general. We do a lot of lie down and then asking the dogs to perform behaviors before they can be released, or try to get them to release. And if they do, nothing happens. But if they wait, then I reinforce them. So I do a lot of games with them during the day that are increasing his ability to contain himself when movement is involved. Tali will only bother the cats if Kite is around. So it's a game between the two of them. The majority of the time, if she's on her own in the house without Kite being there, she is good. She can call her off. You can tell her to stop and she will stop bothering the cats. She's very similar to Tay in this. Very easy to say, let's not do that. Come here and lie down and leave the cats alone. And she will listen and she will not go back for them. While Kite is one of those dogs that will not stop just because you tell him. He will try it again and try again and try again and try again. And you have to really be consistent with Kite. So, after telling you all my different dogs and how I've approached training different depending on the type, we go back to what do we need to do? What do we need to train if we need better control of our dogs where the cats are involved? The training doesn't happen with the cats. It happens in general, away from the cats. There's a lot of training that you have to do in order to then have a better management and training with your cats in the house. This is where I can't just do a course on how to stop your dog cat chasing and bothering the cat. There are a lot of different elements. Now, which of these elements you need to work more is your decision. You can work on all of them if you want to at the same time. My suggestion is to pick the one that you feel is the one you are lacking in knowledge or ability to practice and work on that first. And the three elements are, recall training, good recall training, ability to focus and actually wanting to work with you and do what you're asking them to do, even if there is a distraction present, which is your cat in this situation, for the sake of this podcast, but that can be anything, on a walk. And then, of course, there is the impulse control and prey drive. I have put together 3 mini courses, which are not just going to be a course that I'm selling you and then bye-bye. I have decided to run 3 accelerator programs. What does it mean, accelerator? It means that it's not going to be a 12, 15, 16 weeks. It's going to be a 4 weeks consecutive Zoom classes. And I'm only going to accept, at the moment, for this first lot, 6 people per class. The classes are going to be on 3 different things. So each class will have 6 people signed up maximum. And they're going to be on recall. So the recall accelerator, we're going to go and deep dive only into recall training and the exercises I use and the motivators I use for recall training. After these 4 weeks, so you're going to get 4 weeks of 1 hour one-to-one, group class on Zoom. If you can't attend the class, you will have a recording. At the end of each session, I will allow some 10 minutes question to discuss your own issues. You will also be added to a WhatsApp group where you can ask me question and submit 1 video per week that I will watch and review and give you my feedback for. You will have an online course where the main exercises, tutorials are going to be available for you so you can watch these exercises over and over again. You will have access to that course and the recording of the live forever. So they're going to be yours. I'm not going to take them away from you. Okay. In those 4 weeks, we are going to deep dive into these 3 courses. One is called Recall Accelerator. One is called Focus and Motivation Accelerator. And one is called Prey Drive and Impulse Control Accelerator. So these 3 courses are going to be only on that specific subject. Okay. And we're going to just do games and exercises related to that thing. Now, some exercises might cross over because that is training. Yeah, some exercises are not just for recall, so they might cross over. Now, if you're not sure which one you should join, send me an email, send me a message, answer in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube, and I can give you an idea or give you an option or at least two. Now, these courses are made so that you don't feel overwhelmed about working on 10,000 things together. We're just going to work on one thing, and there's going to be a progression on these 4 weeks. So it's not going to be just exercise. They're all going to fit into each other and improve your ability to understand the subject and how to progress your training, because at the end of those 4 weeks, of course, you have to carry on training. So I'll give you that progression, what will look like, because I'm going to share with my dogs what that should look like. Now, I am going to put all the links in either in the show notes or in the comments of Facebook when I post this video. And this live and tutorial, this video and tutorial are going to come out on the 24th, and you will have 24 hours to use a early bird code that gives you a 10% discount. Only 24 hours. After that is going to be at a full price of £167, which is not a lot considering you will have a course available to you for the rest of your life. I hope that this is going to give you a lot of help and support on specific things that you need to improve, rather than having to join the membership, which is great, is the best place in the world, but there's a lot in it that you might actually feel overwhelmed if you are one of those people that feel overwhelmed about having too much to work. I know some of my students, they go like, I love it. I've got, 16 modules to work on. I can't wait to crack in. And then I have people that go like, oh, that's too much. I'm scared. I'm just going to not join, or I'm going to cancel because there's too much going on. So these courses are going to give you more structure on specific things. Now, I'm going to run them now, June and July, and then I'm going to rerun them probably in winter. So don't think that I'm going to run them every month, probably twice a year. So if you need it now, join now. There's only 6 spaces available. I will let you know that I haven't published it yet, but there's going to be also a reactivity course, which is going to be a 6 weeks one. So if you say to me, actually, reactivity is more important for me, and you want to keep the money for that, keep your eyes out, and that's fine. But if your problems are impulse control and prey drive, or recall, or motivation and focus, then these are the courses for you. I know I should not have published 3, because some of you will be like, I want to do them all. It's okay. I will rerun them again. Concentrate on the thing that is most important to you. And once you've achieved that, you can move to the next one next time. Or you might find that if you work on that one, other things are going to improve anyway, because as I said, some exercises will cross over anyway. So I hope this is something that is going to be welcomed by the Border Collie owners community. Of course, these are all designed on a Border Collie or similar type of dog. If you have another breed and you want to join, that's fine. I'm not going to not allow you to join. Just send me a message making sure that it's what you're looking for. Dogs are dogs. The training I do is, of course, can be applied to other breeds. But we are going to talk about Border Collies. We are going to concentrate on their traits, on their ability to stalk and control. And that is typical of the herders that have this kind of style of work. And that's how their brain are being shaped. So you're all welcome, but of course it's going to be more for Border Collie owners. I hope this podcast has been useful to help you understanding a bit more how to manage your dog around the cats in the household. And also I might have actually light some bulb in your brain that is not just about your cats. There are a lot of other things that need addressing outside of a situation where your cats are involved. So there's a lot of work to do. I will talk to you very soon again, and I will, I promise, I'm not sure how often, but I promise I will be back for the podcast. I have 2 guests episodes already recorded I just have to edit them and put them out. But it takes a lot of brain power at the moment, which I don't have because we're just in the middle of lambing. And today I should have been off, but instead I have recorded an episode for you. I'm now going to have to go off and see if there is any need for me on the lambing field. If you want to know more about what's going on the farm, please follow me on Instagram, Martina_Border_Collie_Geek, where you will see daily updates on lambs, the farm, the dogs, and the amazing Tay doing all the jobs for us. I will talk to you all very soon. Bye.